We've all seen it happen. Some brilliant, game-changing idea comes along that promises so much, and then, poof, it just fizzles out and is forgotten. So why does this happen? Well, in this explainer, we're going to break down why so many great ideas fail, and, more importantly, we're going to uncover the blueprint for making sure they actually succeed. It's such a familiar and honestly, a frustrating story, right? An organization rolls out this amazing new tool, a process that's going to change everything. And 6 months later, it's just gathering digital dust. So why? Why do so many of these innovations just fail to stick? Well, the answer isn't in the technology. It's somewhere else entirely. Okay, to make this really concrete, let's follow a story. Imagine a university library. They've just invested a ton of money in a state-of-the-art digital system. It's faster, it's smarter, it's objectively better in every single way. But months after the big launch, nobody's using it. People are still clinging to that old, clunky database they already know. The new system, it's a technical success, sure, but it's a total practical failure. So what on earth went wrong? And that, right there, brings us straight to the heart of the problem. You see, we often focus so much on perfecting the idea or the technology that we completely forget about the most complex, the most critical part of the whole equation, the people who actually have to use it. And this is the huge disconnect. We see a new tool, but our brains see a disruption. It's not just about clicking a new button. It's a threat to our comfortable routines. It forces us to leave behind what we know and step out into the unknown. And that is not a small ask. For a lot of people, that's a huge one. So what's really going on inside our heads? Well, we feel uncertain about what this new thing means for our jobs. We find this deep, deep comfort in the muscle memory of our old routines. We might even be scared that our hard-won skills are suddenly going to be obsolete. When you put all that together, is it any wonder that our first instinct is to resist? And hey, if nobody even asked for our input in the first place, forget about it. This brings us to a really critical shift in thinking, and it's captured perfectly by the researcher Jim Uckner. He said, innovation is, at its core, change management. Wow. That reframes everything, doesn't it? It tells us that the best idea in the world is basically destined to fail if you don't master the human side of introducing it. So if we understand that the problem is human, the good news is there's a solution. And it's not about luck or some kind of magic. It's about following a proven recipe for managing change and doing it effectively. We don't have to guess what works. Decades of research from pioneers like Harvard's John Kotter have laid out a really clear roadmap for navigating this tricky landscape of human and organizational change. It's all about being deliberate. So what's in this recipe? Well, it all starts with urgency, making it painfully clear why staying the same just isn't an option anymore. Then you need champions, a powerful, influential group to guide the change. You have to create a compelling vision of the future that really inspires people. And then you have to communicate that vision over and over and over again. And finally, and this is so crucial, you have to empower people, give them the freedom and the ownership to make the change their own. Okay, let's go back to our library. Instead of just launching the new system, what if they first created urgency by showing data on how the old database leads to incomplete research? Then they identify respected senior librarians and some tech-savvy student leaders to be their champions, getting them excited and trained first so they can spread the word. Now that's how you turn these abstract principles into real, concrete action. But look, a great recipe is just the start, right? You still have to actually cook the meal. So how do we translate this strategic plan into day-to-day practice? Well, it happens in 3 distinct phases. Research from folks like Kashan maps this out as a journey. You start with the big idea and the strategy, that's phase 1. Then comes the really critical second phase. You're not launching yet, you're developing and piloting on a small scale. Only after that do you move to the final phase of implementing it widely. And this is the most important part, embedding it into the culture. Okay, so the most important point here is this. Stop thinking of innovation as some big bang launch event. It's a journey. And that pilot phase, that is your secret weapon. It's a safe space to test things out, to learn, to gather honest feedback without the high stakes of a full rollout. It's where you find out what actually works in practice, not just what looked good on paper. So for a library, this means piloting the system with just the history department first. They provide hands-on workshops, not just boring manuals.
And when a student finds a rare source in seconds, they celebrate that quick win in the university newsletter. They let the librarians adapt the training, giving them a sense of ownership, and finally, they make the new system the official default in all the research guides.
This brings us to the final and I think the most important idea of all. What does done actually look like? What is the real finish line for any innovation? Just look at this comparison. On the left side, you've got a technical solution. The server is on, the software is installed. Mission accomplished, right? Wrong. The real goal is over on the right, an embedded practice. This is when the new way becomes the normal way, the unconscious, automatic, default way to get work done. This single sentence right here captures the entire mindset shift you need to make. It's not about the launch party. It's about what happens 6 months later when nobody is watching. Is the new way still being used? Has it become the new normal? This is the ultimate measure of success. Is your innovation just available, or is it fully woven into the social fabric of how people work every day? Real success is when the innovation kind of becomes invisible. It's just the way we do things around here now. Which leaves us with one last question to think about. We're all so captivated by a brilliant, world-changing idea. But what all the evidence suggests is that a good idea with a brilliant implementation will always beat a brilliant idea with a poor one. Because the true genius isn't just in having the great idea. It's in the messy, human, and absolutely essential work of bringing everyone else along with you. Thanks so much for joining me.